Thank you. I'm Jaya Menon, and I work with CRS. CRS is an international humanitarian agency, which basically works on health, livelihood, and most importantly on disaster reliefs across different countries across the world. Sorry. And in Uttar Pradesh, particularly, we are working on a M-Health project called REMIND, which stands for Reducing Maternal and Newborn Deaths. It's a 4-year project, and we partner with Vatsalya. Our technology partner is Dimagi, and we work closely with Government of Uttar Pradesh. We have a MOU signed with them for implementing this project. Currently, we are implementing the ASHA intervention in 2 blocks of Kaushambi district, where we work with the ASHAs, train them on interpersonal communication, and help them use a mobile tool to do home visits and counseling of pregnant women. And very soon, we will be introducing our ASHA facilitator, or as you know, the ASHA Sangini intervention. As soon as they are trained and deployed in the districts by the in our NHM, we will be training them further on supervisory tool and scale it up to 8 blocks of Kaushambi and 1 block of Lucknow district. We cover the entire 2 blocks of Kaushambi, Manjanpur and Muradganj, but specifically looking at the beneficiary numbers, we've been able to reach out to 13,000 pregnant women and 9,500 children through 259 ASHAs that we are working in the 2 blocks. Our major funding is CRS's own private funds, and some portion also comes from the USAID's Div2 funding. Let me begin with the ASHA intervention. As I said, we are working with 259 ASHAs in 2 blocks of Kaushambi. And here we are working with them on the MNH issues. We have this app which includes different periods of like pregnancy, postpartum and immunization module. Right now, we are being able to implement the pregnancy and the immunization module. Postpartum, we have not been able to roll it out yet because the government has not trained ASHAs on home-based newborn care. So we don't want to give ASHA a mobile application which she doesn't know what to do and why she needs to do certain things. Using this application, the ASHA can do case management, counselings and referrals. On the next level, which is a proposed level, we'll be working with the ASHA Sanganis or the ASHA supervisors, and we'll be covering almost like 70 ASHA facilitators in the entire district of Kaushambi and 1 block of Lucknow, which has been suggested by the NHM UP. Because since we wanted a more deeper involvement of the government into the programs, they said it is easy if a block of Lucknow is used. Here with the ASHA facilitators, we'll be working on the monitoring and supervision of ASHA work and help the ASHA facilitators to identify and support the ASHA needs. And at the block and the district level, since a lot of information is being collected by the ASHAs when they're going and registering pregnant women, we have some real-time data available on health behaviors and outcomes, and also on the performances of the ASHAs. And once we have the ASHA facilitator intervention, we will have data on the supervisors also. And we engage the block and district functionaries to look at these data and feed it back into their system. Like if I give an example, we have this ASHA meetings held at the block level. So we help the block functionaries use this data to look at the performances of the ASHA and give feedback to the ASHAs on what are the areas that they need to focus in the forthcoming month. I'll go to the next slide before I go into this. The application that I was talking about is this. We have almost like 5 modules: registration of pregnant mothers, management of pregnant mothers, postpartum mothers, newborn and young child, and referral follow-ups. I won't go into the detail because ours is a lot of overlapping with the NEEDS project. So I would not go into the details of that. But you can see different colors here. One of the major challenges, as we were also discussing during that presentation, was working with functionally low literate ASHA workers. So we had to constantly come up with ways how we can make this, make these ASHAs comfortable with mobile applications. So we started color coding different modules, like the yellow ones they know is for pregnancy, green ones they know it's for the postpartum, and the blue ones for the baby. And then we have coupled it with the images also that came in and the audios also. So if they go on to one, it will say Garbhavati Panjikaran. So she can hear, she can use the color coding and the image to see what she's choosing. I'll come back to this slide on ASHAs. So what we really do with the ASHAs, we actually didn't want to train them on IPC because government needs to do it, but since there had been a long gap between the training and when we introduced our project, we wanted to, reorient them on certain basic principles of interpersonal communication and a refresher kind of a thing on maternal and newborn child health care, and completely based on the Government of India guidelines. So it is a 3-day training that we did for them. 1 day just concentrated on the maternal newborn child health care and IPC, and 2 days of full training on use of mobile, how to navigate through the application and how to use the application. And I think most importantly, rather than like deploying a mobile application, what has been our major focus has been to give hands-on training on using these mobile applications during the training, and then on-job support and conducting home visits and counseling of beneficiaries, which worked in our favor. And then also providing them feedbacks from the blocks on the performances. As I said, we involve the block functionaries like the health education officers to look at these data and give these, use those data in the ASHA review meetings at the block level. And once these ASHAs are trained on the postpartum, we'll be rolling out the postpartum application and the referral module with them. Here you can see the picture shows it is one of our staffs here who's hand-holding the ASHAs. One interesting thing that we want to add here, like we tried to see how the government will be working with the ASHAs. So by the time we started training the ASHAs, the guidelines for the ASHA facilitators or the ASHA Sanganis were already out. So we knew that one ASHA facilitator or a supervisor would be supervising almost like 20 to 25 ASHAs on an average. So, and that's how, and since there was a gap, we didn't have the supervisors in place. So what we did was we brought in some project staff and placed them in the same ratio as the government had decided, so that one project staff supervised almost like 20 to 25. And it was also a learning process for us to see what learnings we can give it to the government if they want to scale it up in their project areas, and what all it will need for them to do. Yeah. Let's see if. And the second one is the ASHA facilitators. We have already developed the ASHA supervisory application, and it has been based on the recommendations or the guidelines that has been developed by NHSRC and the NHM UP. And again, similarly, we plan to provide them a hands-on training on using customized mobile applications. And it's again a 3-day training that we'll have for them, and on-job support in conducting ASHA visits, and how they can, observe the ASHAs, conduct these home visits and counseling of beneficiaries, which is more crucial. Like, apart from the training of the ASHAs or ASHA facilitators per se on the application as such, we found that, working with them at the field level is more crucial. And then also engage the block level, functionaries, like we will have the block community process managers in place. So to help them to look at these data and help them to go visit along with the ASHA facilitators and handhold her to further facilitate the ASHAs do home visits and counseling. So the successes so far. Like I said, we had to constantly engage at the ground level with the ASHAs to ensure that they are able to use this mobile application, and more importantly, make those home visits, do those counselings. So what we did was we came up with simple monitoring tools. That was again a mobile-based tool which we gave to our project staff, and there were different tools in a sense. One was like the home observation tool that we used. Then one was like the technology issue tool. So, when our project staff was going into the field to support the ASHA, they would observe home visits on and gauge the ASHA on these parameters and punch in their responses. And this was analyzed on a monthly basis, and feedbacks were again shared with the ASHAs through the HEOs. So it was not a direct feedback that way we given. But yes, definitely if anything crucial was propping up in the field, we would definitely give that feedback to the ASHAs. And then there were like other tools like the technology issues, because again, we were working with low literate ASHAs, and most of the ASHAs were first-time mobile users also. So it was not that like 3 days of training would work wonders for them, and we could have them all using the mobiles. So we came up with tools where we could track actually what are the technology problems that are being reported by them and see how they can be lessened. And findings from there were taken into a refresher training, so that we can just tell them it is a small something that you need to do so that you don't get this technology problem. So they were not any very big or disastrous problem that we came through, but they were small things that we could do by regular tracking of the intervention at the field level. So we can see here that the quality of the ASHA counseling significantly improved. Like if I particularly say that, she was engaging the family members also, because even yesterday we were seeing that, women are not the decision makers. So ASHA going and delivering those messages to the woman would not result in practice. So it was important how we can involve the family. So we started tracking. So if we look at it, like at September 12, we just had almost like only 11% of the ASHAs involving the families during the counseling, to almost like 41% now. And then, the other things were like encouraging the women to use the next recommended health services, or even like telling them about the next home visit. And one discussions we were having in the needs presentation, like, whether like the phone talking, it does generate interest among the women, because we could always find them like talking into the phone. Like if the phone says something, she would say, yes, I do that. But more importantly, we wanted to have that engagement between the ASHA and the woman. It's not just, just the audio messages playing. So we were also trying to see whether after playing the audio messages, where the ASHAs, giving examples of her experiences, or, expanding on those messages. So we tried to track how actually the ASHA is engaging with the women, not just delivering those audio messages or the visuals to the pregnant woman. And the other thing that we did was track the mobile literacy of the ASHAs. As we said, majority of them were the first-time mobile users, and almost like 40% of them were functionally low literate ASHAs. So we had a challenge, how do we make it easy for the ASHAs? So again, we came up with like 33 odd skills that we want to look in an ASHA, but we thought it is not possible to prioritize all of them. So what we categorized into like essential skills, which were like almost 18 of them, almost like 7 of nice to know skills, and or 7 like almost like good to know skills. So we concentrated on the essential skills that we want the ASHAs to know, like whether she can, enter a numeric date, whether she can, write the mobile number onto that application. The application is very similar to what the needs had, so I'm not showing that application here. But these were the things that we tracked. Can she assess the battery, level? Can she look at the date of the mobile? Certain things which is very essential for her to operate the mobile and to operate the application. So we concentrated on those skills first, and over the period we have found that improvement in the skills that the ASHAs had. They started demonstrating more and more essential skills that was required to operate the mobile phone and the application as such. And some of the anecdotes that we have got from the ASHAs is like they feel that the multimedia app, because they felt like, earlier also they used to have this job aids, like printed job aids that they could carry, and counsel. But with mobile, it is much easier, and it is like more happening thing. So they feel that it is like credibility is there, because more standardized messages they can give. And the phone also says what they have been trying to tell people. And there has been an improved confidence level in working in the community, and even the acceptability of the beneficiaries, acceptability of the ASHAs by the beneficiaries has also gone. It has somewhere worked on their image, I would say. And as I was saying, like half of the functionally illiterate ASHAs of one of the blocks that we are working have started, like, they can enter numeric data into the phone. I will not claim that we have made them literates, but at least like we have developed certain things like cheat sheets for them. So she knows, like, if she has to write Ratna, so she knows if I press 4 times, Ra will come. and then if presses key 2 3 times, she knows ta will come, something of that sort. So see, they have these sheets which they use, and whenever the project staff is, visiting the ashas during this visit, they make them, type in those names in front of them, and they keep helping them. So these cheat sheets and the constant support that they have got at the field level has, now they can start, now they can enter numeric data, and some of them have also started entering names also. There would be some small mistakes, but at least you can make out it is Ratna or Sita or something of that sort. And some outcome level successes that we have got so far is like from the baselines, the birth preparedness has doubled. It was 43.2 somewhere in the baseline and to 80.7 now. Pregnant women consuming IFA tablets for at least one trimester during pregnancy has also increased from 2.8 to 25.2. And women receiving 3+ ANC also increased from 25.3 to 38.9. Some other preliminary midterm outcomes that have been observed is like the frequency of visits that the ashas are now getting. Home visits by an ASHA has also doubled. It was like almost like 1.18 during the baselines to 1.95 now during the midterm. And the other thing is that the number of women, claiming that they never got a home visit from an ASHA has reduced from 39 to 24%. And this is in the sampled population where we did the evaluations. So some of the challenges that we faced, as I've been talking a lot about it, like the initial learning curve of the ashas who had literally no experience of using a mobile phone, or they were functionally illiterate. So what we tried to do was when we did the first batch of training with the ashas, and we found that there were some ashas who were good enough, smart to pick up things. Two low literate ashas, they were not able to keep pace with the training. So what we did in the subsequent trainings was to immediately segregate these ashas and conduct specific training batches for the low literate ashas. The other thing that we did was also invite one of the family members of the ashas, because these ashas are anyway getting some help from one of the family members for doing the routine ASHA work. So we tried to identify that family member and bring them to the training so that they are also knowing what exactly we are expecting from the ASHA. And whenever the project staff was going back, we were interacting both with the ASHA and the family members. And the other thing that we did was the other challenge that we had was engaging middle level supervisor of ASHAs to support them, because the ASHA Sanganis were not in place, and the ANMs were supposed to be the so-called supervisors of ASHA, but apparently the ANMs didn't know that they were the supervisors of ASHA. So we were left with a big challenge how to support the ASHAs, and that is how we ended up having project staff in the same ratio based on the guidelines of ASHA facilitators that were proposed. And then the frequent change in the leadership in the government at the district level. Because by the time you could, orient the district functionary, engage them and involve them in the review process and asking of things like how things are moving, they would be transferred. In the last 2 years, we have had 5 CMOs changed in Kaushambi, so you can understand what challenges we went through. Some of the lessons learned, one, we have already said that we have to make the interface as easy as possible, put visuals, colors, audios, so that it doesn't, frighten the ashas to use the mobile as such or the application as such. And the other thing that we did was when we did the first batch of training, and we blissfully went back to them after a month, and we found that they hadn't even, switched on their mobile phones, and that was scary for us. So for the subsequent training batches, what we did was have immediate follow-ups within a week, so that they have undergone that training, and within a week one of us is reaching them and helping them switch on, do 1 or 2 registrations along with them, so that they know it is not something that they will some people were saying that computer chhuenge, kharab ho jayega, kya karenge. So actually to bring them out of that mindset, you need how you can use and how easy it is to use. So that also helped a lot. And need-based supervision helpful in maximizing ASHA outputs. We use the mobile experience survey tool, the technology tracking tool, and giving them supervision based on suppose if we found a particular ASHA is not able to, open the application or not access battery or not input numerics. So instead of concentrating on 18 skills that we want her to have, we just concentrated on those 3 skills during that particular supervisory visit. And again, when the project staff is going back after a month, he or she knows what are the 3 skills that I talked about to her when he opens that particular ASHA file on his mobile. And accordingly, he could concentrate on the support or supervisions there. And strengthening local resources minimizes time in resolving technology issues. Like we had so many users, like almost like 259 ASHAs who were first-time mobile users, and a lot of technology issues like GPRS setting problems, things like that happening. So what we did was have these orientation for our project staff. So the turnaround time in addressing these problems are very less. And I would say none from the state or the national or from the Dimagi level had to be involved in addressing any of the technology problems, because that could be addressed locally at the district and the block level. And that, that helped us to keep up the pace of the program, because there was hardly a chance where ASHA was left with a non-functional phone for maybe a day or two, because that was almost, it has been 24 hours, but yeah, we give them a leverage of 48 hours. Like within 48 hours, it is resolved. The other learning has been that, for the success of a mobile application at the ASHA level, you need to have sufficient supportive supervision for the ASHAs. You cannot just train them and leave it to them to figure it out. You need to go back to them constantly and be with them, help them out so that they become comfortable using it, and not judge them actually. And then engagement of government functionaries from the inception enables easy uptake of intervention. Since we were right from the beginning, we were involving the government. I would not say this has worked in our favor for the MNH application, because as we have been discussing in the last 2 days, there are many applications in the state, and there is something good in Remind, there are something other good things in other applications. So the state is right now looking at what all can be brought together and made a comprehensive package. But what worked in our favor was the ASHA Facilitator Supervisory application. None of the agencies have worked on it, and they could, since we were in good engagement with the government, they looked at this application and they want us to take it to scale. So they want us to work in Kaushambi, the entire district of Kaushambi, and in one block of Lucknow. And if it works, they want to scale it up to the entire state, because supervision is one area that they've been struggling with. And the other thing is yeah, it's I think it's almost similar to the first point. Like when you are taking anything on a large scale at the ASHA level, it's always better to have the supervisory level ready and trained so that you can provide that hand-holding support to the ASHAs. So I would just like to leave you with a few thoughts, like keep it simple so that it doesn't frighten people, and it's easy for them to hold the mobiles, use and navigate through the application. Test, and then scale, because again, I will refer to needs. There were questions during the needs presentation, like if there is any revisions required, what do we do? And that is why we extensively, field tested both the application, the pregnancy application and the postpartum application, so that we don't want to go back and, redo things. So test as much as possible and then only scale. And then invest in building local capacity so that you can address the technology issues right at the grassroots levels. It takes a team. It's not just the IT, it's not just the program, but the M&E, IT, the programmers, the government, every one of us. And then share and learn and share. So that's it, that's all. If you have any questions for me.
Any questions?
I guess most of it was discussed during the earlier presentation. I was worried,
I mean, just as a point, the software is open source.
Yeah, sorry, ComCare. We use ComCare, which is a open.
Which is exactly what you also use,
yeah.
Right? Kind of built.
During piloting ComCare, but now we have a completely different software.
Yeah, go ahead. Okay, go ahead. Come on with your presentation then. Yes, you're next.
Okay.
So there are some.
Yeah, sorry, we use the feature phones. No, it works on this basic feature phone, and the reason why we used this basic feature phone was one, that it supported all what we wanted to do with the application, and it could support all the features. And second, we didn't want to, give Asha an Android phone because they were first-time users, and there were high chances that, they would have had this kind of a feature phone at their home. So it is not intimidating, and then it was cost-effective also. And then when we started, Androids were not that cheap, so we went with the feature phone and could support.
No, one thing that I wanted to ask
Sorry?
was, hello, here.
Yeah, the Asha Facilitator application that we have will be used on an Android phone. It can be used on a feature phone as well, but then there has been recommendations from the NHM that they want to see how it works on the Android phone. So that's why we'll be, we have tested it, and we'll be now, whenever we'll be training the Asha facilitators, we'll be using an Android phone.
Now we want so many things to be done on a mobile phone by Asha and other workers. So all the app managers and all these people, they should decide on what should be the basic mobile, that can be used by all the people. Not just any mobile can be used with all these things that you want to show.
That's why they started by using
Very basic phone.
No, so what is your idea of a basic phone?
This is Nokia C204.
the feature phone, which is
Like you want to show a video clip also, you want to show
Yeah.
voice clip also. So
What happens, sir, is like the media and the audio file is onto the SD card, and the application is on the phone. So that is well supported. That's not an issue.
like it has to be an SD card.
Yeah, there has to.
The phone should have. You see, you got to have some basic requirement in a phone. What it should have.
the
Yeah,
specification
that
of the most
specification.
basic phone, which supports an SD card and
So that minimum
multimedia.
specification should be like that sort of a thing. They should come out with that. Okay, your mobile, whatever you want to supply to, or ask the Asha or your health worker to purchase or to use, these things should be there.
Yeah.
Correct.
And I think I forgot to mention, we provided the Ashas with the phone because that was asking too much from the Ashas level. So we provided them with this basic phones and the SD card. All they had to do was buy a SIM for themselves, yeah.
Yes.
Just to add to what Dr. Saab said, it's important, and this is our action planning thing which we need to do. Like you provided mobile there, here you have 77,000 SIM, which SIM has been provided. There is also a proposal in pipeline. I was speaking to the secretary yesterday. He said that pipeline for tablet is also, wherein government of MP has already allocated around 5 crores. They are waiting for the central budget and all. So obviously what you're saying is right. When you do the planning for our department, we'll have to clearly identify whether we are going to use mobile for tracking, for data
Exactly.
collection, or for counseling and IPC session. Now, or all of it. Now that is point number one. Point number two, then what are the available things? So we already know that there are so many things. And third, the most important thing which you pointed out is what is the device. And let me tell you I don't know whether I brought it yesterday or not. I worked in Jharkhand. I also went to some of the places in Shivpuri, remote tribal villages. If you can experiment this. I have also seen this, the security guards in Mumbai. In the night, what they do is they watch videos on mobile. And you go to Haat Bazaars in these remote tribal areas wherein we are talking about inaccessibility and everything. There you have this chips selling like hotcakes. 50 rupees, 100 rupees, and you have all the local songs, videos, Ramayana, Mahabharata, over that chip. So people go, they buy that chip, they put it in their mobile, they see it. So in what way we can use our mobisodes, mobile episodes? हाँ. Correct, correct.
10 रुपए का top up हो. नहीं, top up on the SD card. I mean is download on the SD card. That is what I meant.
Correct. I was told कि 150 रुपए का SD कार्ड में आप 30 से ज़्यादा वीडियो 5 से 7 मिनट का डाल सकते हैं. अब इमेजिन करो ANC का सारा बेनिफिट्स बताना, इफ द वीडियो टेल्स इन 4-5 मिनट्स एंड वी हैव दैट वीडियो, आशा को पूरा रिमेंबर नहीं करना है, लॉजिकल सीक्वेंसिंग का प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, सारा मैसेजेस जो आप चाहते हैं वो आ रहा है, एंड दिस ऑल दीज थिंग्स विच दे आर सेइंग कि मोबाइल पूछता है ओके आपने ANC करवाया, उसने कहा नहीं, जैसे नहीं बोला यू लिंक इट टू द वीडियो सेइंग दैट क्या क्या फ़ायदे हैं ANC। करेक्ट करेक्ट
Tested it, it works even on a small screen.
correct Aman, we'll have to find out what kind of mobile is already available and being used, and let me tell you maximum लोगों के पास कलर्ड स्क्रीन है, लावा जावा ये सब बोल के है, चाइनीज मोबाइल सब 1500-2000 रुपए में कलर्ड स्क्रीन और सारा चीज
But
अवेलेबल।
when Asha is functioning, she is functioning in the presence of A&M. A&M is going for VHND, and so she can travel with the tablet. And that tablet can be used, we can give the A&M tablets, and they will be required very less in number.